Let's see.
Calling.
So we are live. Let me see if it pops up on the other one. Glitch X Moxina is already in the chat.
Oh, cool.
Oh man, I'm getting a commercial. Can I hear myself? Yes, I can. All right.
Okay, can you hear me on that one?
Sounds like it.
Cool. That's good. That's a good start.
DJ, can we get a sound test for you real quick?
Oh, yes. Anything?
It has kind of a little bit of delay, so it's going to take me a second.
Okay. Jason's about to join in as well, but he's only here for an hour.
Ah, cool. Yeah, I think.
All right, sounds good. All right, now I can turn that off. I don't hear myself twice. All right, welcome. Like I said, Glitch, I believe, is in the chat. Can you say hi, Glitch?
Hi. Yeah. I've got a bit of a cough, so if you occasionally hear a coughing noise, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's annoying whenever I've had like a cold for a couple of weeks, which makes recording videos really annoying because I'm just like, try not to like sniffle and cough every 2 seconds. It would be really great.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's on the mend now. It's okay. It's not as bad as it was. It doesn't like hurt or anything. It's just annoying.
I know we're still waiting. We still haven't heard from
Jason.
BitterElasticat. That's Jason.
Yeah.
However he wants to be heard, but
yeah.
If he joins us, he might join us later.
Yeah. I sent him a link on Twitter, so I've just got a message actually.
Oh, good.
Oh yeah, okay.
What did he say something?
Yeah, he's saying he's joining now.
Okay, cool. And I'm sure if we can hear you guys, I'm sure we can hear him too once he joins. So
yeah. So chat, how's life?
Yeah, life is great.
Yeah. That's good.
How about you, DJ? Life treating you well?
Yeah, so sort of.
Well, we'll get into the real chat once Jason gets here.
Yeah, he should be here soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, just uni's been great as always. Oh, here he is.
There he is. Hi, Jason.
Hey.
Oh, that's wonderful. I tweeted that we were live and forgot to put the link in.
Yeah, I should probably do that too. I don't have many followers on Twitter yet, but
I have 11.
I have 25.
Jason
has 300.
Yeah, I know. Jason's owning us. I can't hear you, Jason. If you're wondering.
Yeah.
Let's see. Streaming with awesome dudes and dudettes. At and link.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he dropped. I'm sure he'll be back. He probably just having mic problems or something.
Yeah. Yeah, at least we're supposed to got the mic problems first, rather than the last stream we did. We did the entire stream, and everyone was like, "Who are you talking to, Com? You're just talking to yourself." And then he's like, "Well, I'm talking with someone." I was like, "Oh wait, shit." My mic wasn't working for the entire nearly 2-hour stream or something.
Yeah, we had no one in chat to tell us. Well, until the end, we had a single person.
At the end, yeah, we had one person in chat. It was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was before I even released any videos. Just like,
so I know me and Lawful are in. I guess Lawful, what you guys couldn't call it university, right? That's what the British call.
we call it university.
Yeah. How about you, DJ? Have you been to university, or are you in university?
No, I couldn't afford it. I've been to 5 different colleges, but I couldn't afford university.
Okay.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think university in the UK, it's kind of like, I think it's accessible in that you get student loans and everything, but it just depends. If it's not really required, a lot of people don't do it because it's just kind of like, what's the point of all that debt if it's not necessary?
Yeah.
One of the things I noticed was that um, I couldn't focus in studies, even though I was brilliant at it. I loved to learn, but I just couldn't focus. So there was no point in spending all the money.
Yeah, I have ADHD, so I struggle with that myself, which is I think that's kind of beneficial to. I'm getting a computer science degree. I feel it's kind of beneficial because if I ever feel like working on another program, I'm still getting experience, just not getting my homework done.
No, my homework is always just the night before. I haven't broke from that, kids mentality of if I just do it the night before, it'll all be okay. And then it's never okay because it takes like 5 hours longer than you expected, and you're up until like 7 in the morning. Just like, why?
I did college when I was 18 or 17, and I was getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning, spending the whole day in college, then going straight from college to work, and not getting home until 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, that's heavy.
Ready to forget, but up at 7 o'clock for the next day.
That's rough.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. Let's see.
Oh, there's a message.
Well,
oh, he said he's having a bit of an issue, but he's coming.
Okay. We'll give him another 2 minutes, and then we'll jump right into the other stuff once if he doesn't get on in that 2 minutes, we'll just get started.
Yeah, and he can just jump in at that point and say whatever.
So, Lawful, would you be considered a first year university or?
Yeah, I'm in first year.
Okay.
I'm baby uni student.
Is that what you guys call it?
Yeah, everyone just, especially in debate, people call me a debaby.
A debaby?
Because I'm in first year. I'm just like a small person, and they're just like, you think you're busy now, just wait until third year. And I'm like, please don't remind me. They want me to do an 80-hour week by the end of this year. What the fuck are they expecting?
I'm technically a fourth year, but I've still have another 2 years to go. I have a lot of credits a lot more credits than I need. And it would be like I'm on my third year of computer science stuff, and it is the hardest year of computer science.
Fun times.
Like it's even harder than the fourth year of computer science, and it's sad. I'm very sad about it.
Yeah.
But it's great.
Yeah.
So when you were in college, what were you getting your degree in, DJ?
I wasn't getting it. You don't get degrees in college. It's university.
Oh, university.
It's like
I did the information technology, science, and performing arts.
Okay.
Do you do it as a BTEC or as a other form of?
The science and the performing arts were BTEC.
Yeah. BTEC.
The other one was
I don't know. Do you have BTECs in the US? I imagine you'd have. It's kind of like BTECs, not always, but are more like practical.
Oh, we call them technical schools.
Yeah.
They're not very useful. They're not well regarded in the United States.
I think.
For different.
They're not regarded here either.
Yeah, there are certain technical schools that are fine, like automotive technical schools. They're usually for those kind of fields, but for the most part, like if I wanted, like we have a technical school called ITT Tech, and it's pretty much just a degree mill that it's not well regarded. My older brother got a degree from there, and I don't consider him to be very intelligent. So.
Oh, Glitch is asking you a question.
Oh, glitches. Let me.
Yeah.
I should probably have that up, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
Have that up somewhere else. Where do I have it up? There we are. By tech schools, do you mean trade schools? There we go. Yeah, we have trade schools.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
but I mean, what do you think, X? I don't think we have. I don't level out all the ham. Yeah, they're not usually well regarded.
Yeah, I think it depends with BTECs in the UK. Say, for example, I know people on my law course who did BTECs, but you have to basically get to an incredibly high level and get a distinction, which is basically the highest possible grade you can get in every single aspect of your BTEC. And then you might be considered. And I mean, like, I do go to a good university, but it's if you're doing a BTEC, you're at a significant disadvantage if you want to get on a course. You have to basically get nearly 100% in every aspect of your BTEC to be considered. Which kind of sucks, I guess, because a lot of them are equivalent, but it's just it's more like it's just how it's considered as opposed to the difficulty level.
Yeah. Well, I guess we've given Jason a little bit of time. Why don't we go ahead and get started?
Yeah, sure.
He'll jump in whenever he gets on and figures it out. So our first topic is Trump, Milo, PewDiePie, and mainstream media.
Yeah.
Let's start with Trump.
Yeah.
He's the fun one.
He's a great guy.
I've never actually talked to you, DJ, before. What are your opinions on Trump?
I think it's difficult for me because, as far as I'm concerned, Donald Trump has no effect on my daily life, so it's not my business to have an opinion on Trump. I barely care about politics in this country, let alone in America.
Yeah,
I guess that's fair.
I think I'm more invested because I spent like a year studying American politics, so I'm just like I'm really invested in the American election and everything about it because it was like my entire A level.
I mean, I guess you probably care about as much about American politics as I care about British. I mean, I know enough about you guys' politics to have some opinions, but not any place to say, well, it affects me, so I should. So it really, like, I followed Brexit, but if it happened, it had little to no effect on me, no matter what.
Yeah, I think even the effect it had on the market was relatively. I mean, we've not completely Brexited yet, so the true effect on the market, I guess we don't really know, but it didn't really have this like massive crash or anything on the world economy.
Even though so you probably don't follow a lot of Trump. Do you actually know any like I think he probably has a bigger effect on worldwide because I think not Trump's per se, but the attitudes that people hold that kind of got Trump elected are kind of something similar to what happened with Brexit.
Yeah,
they're actually very similar. Pretty much, we have the whole in the Brexit they were using fear and saying why Britain should stay with the European Union because these things were going to happen, and the same thing happened with Donald Trump. And when it didn't happen, it was suddenly why isn't it happening? People were expecting it so much that they just don't understand why it's not happening and why the things they were thinking was going to happen isn't happening yet.
Yeah, I think one of the issues with the Brexit debate is both sides kind of had this fear-mongering attitude. Like, I voted to remain, even though actually I personally benefit from us leaving because I want to go into immigration law, so more work for me, yay. So I mean, like, I personally do actually benefit from us leaving, but I guess there was a lot of over-exaggeration. I mean, there are still valid concerns, I think, of Brexit, and I think one of the most concerning things, I guess, is that in the world market, our stability depends on getting a good deal with the EU in a lot of ways, and hopefully we get a good deal that doesn't like completely screw us over. Would be nice. But yeah, although it did annoy me, like kind of Like, I know a lot of people that are like, oh no, we should, like, politicians shouldn't leave because, you know, the people just don't know. And I'm like, we voted to leave, like, you know.
Yeah.
Can't, like, ignore democracy because it didn't go your way.
Yeah, I voted to, in the Scottish referendum, I voted to leave Britain. In the Brexit one, I voted to leave Europe. I know that Nicola Sturgeon is planning to, or hoping to get another referendum for Scotland leaving. And if she's doing that to get back into the EU, I'm just going to vote to stay with Britain. Whatever happens, governments are corrupt. There's no way to keep the government out of government. The moment you have a centralised source of power, you're going to get people paying to get into that power.
Yeah, I think it's a repeating of history. I mean, back when kings and queens were the norm of how governments were, you'd have kings who were great, who did great things for their people. And immediately after, well, maybe not immediately, and then you'd also have kings who were terrible for their country.
Yeah, like you'd have a decent king and who'd do like good things for the economy, and then the next one just like screw everything up. And you'd be like, well done. That was nice of you. Like Henry VII and Henry VIII is a good example of that.
Yeah, and we are all happy when we have a good king, because a strong central power is good in some ways, but it only is good if you have that good king. That was kind of the problem. That's what democracy was meant to stop, was a strong central power. So
yeah.
And when you do have the one that's considered the good king, and you ignore all the things they did wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think in the modern context, Obama is quite a good example of that. Me personally, I thought Obama's the kind of guy that like you'd want to go on a night out with. He's like a fun guy. He's very charismatic, and I feel like a lot of the things he did was very good. Like, you know, I don't feel like he like completely wrote, like, you know, he did do beneficial things for the economy, etc. But at the same time, you know, whenever he did something that was kind of questionable, like a lot of his foreign policy ideas that were very kind of, I mean, I'm not anti-interventionist, but at the same time, like, people will be very heavily critical of interventionist policies, but then when Obama does it, it's okay. And you're just like, that, be consistent if you're gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, it was kind of frustrating. And then I think as well, it's kind of backfired a lot, like jumping onto Trump again and him banning certain media outlets from, like
From his press conference.
Yeah, from his press conference. And
I
then everyone's just like,
about that one.
oh,
What was that?
What's that? What was that? Sorry, DJ.
I only just heard about that.
Oh yeah, like I mean, I watched Sargon's stream on it for a bit.
I actually haven't seen. I kind of unsubscribed from Sargon a while ago. What did Sargon have to say about it?
Sargon's opinion was kind of like, people didn't criticize Obama when he did it, so why do you all care now? And my point of view is that I just simply didn't know when Obama did it. I mean, you can maybe talk about how the media should have, you know, maybe discussed that a bit more, and, you know, like how all of a sudden it's a massive First Amendment issue when Trump does it, but not when Obama does it. But Trump's done it to a more significant extent, and also I've just simply heard about it now. I think it's kind of, I think it's just kind of, it's frustrating that basically, like, you're I feel like as well he was holding people accountable for the actions of other people in the stream. Like, so say for example MV was kind of like, well, I disagree with it for these reasons, and he was kind of like, oh well, all these people reacting this way and stuff, so, and I'm just like, well, V shouldn't be accountable for other people's actions. Like, he's criticized Trump and Obama plenty of times. He's clearly not just completely partisan, so I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with Obama preventing particular media outlets from a press conference. Maybe from other events that aren't usually like, that aren't press conference. Press conference, I don't remember him ever.
I think it was.
Barring.
I think it wasn't specifically a press conference, and it wasn't to the same extent, but he has banned media outlets. And I think one thing that people are saying, like, oh no, he was really critical of Fox News and like led a campaign against Fox News. So it's not like just Trump that's, you know, railing against the media. And I'm like, yeah, but that's different. Like Trump can be critical of the media, like, I don't know, but it's
so I
different
think
defining outlets.
I think the biggest difference is Obama did criticize Fox on the occasion.
Yeah.
I think he said it once. I think ever like I remember a couple times he said it.
The Union address, he did it a couple of times.
Yeah, but I don't think I've seen a speech from Trump since he's been president where he hasn't criticized media, mainstream media.
Yeah.
Which is quite a bit different.
I know, yeah. He is a populist, and he knows that that's what's appealing to his base right now. So, you know, that's what he's going to talk about. Which he's already campaigning, by the way, for for 2020.
Oh, I have my opinions on that one. Oh,
why are you? Oh my God, the last election cycle was long enough. Why?
That was the longest. Oh, go ahead, DJ.
Oh, so that's just American politics, because I think Hillary Clinton has already said she's back in the next year, the 2020 election as well.
Yeah, I think like she's planning to run, but Trump's already began like actually like doing conferences and shit and all that. Like he spent a couple of days in, was it Florida or California?
I hope Clinton doesn't run again.
God, yeah, I hope she doesn't.
Oh God.
She got defeated by Trump. Give up. Like at that point, like, what do you do?
No, like, so correct me if I'm wrong, but in England, you guys have a very specific amount of time that they're allowed. Excuse me, that they're allowed to campaign, right?
Yes, kind of. We have stricter. We have, say, for example, caps on how much you can spend, and you have caps on how many TV advertisements you can have.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't have TV advertisements without, you know, like permission, etc. So yeah, like, and also like our campaigning is only a couple of weeks and then it's over. It's like 2 months or something, maybe. It's a very short campaign period.
It used to be that you weren't allowed to say anything against your opponent either. You weren't allowed to if you didn't agree with, if Conservative, for example, didn't agree with something Labour said, they weren't allowed to say that this is what Labour are doing and we don't agree with this. They could mention it in general, but they couldn't mention the other party name.
Yeah. I'm glad that that's not a thing anymore, though, because that's just kind of annoying. If anything else, like...
Yeah. There's a couple of things. I would really like America to have a limited campaign. Like, I would love that, because, like, the amount of time, like, I think Hillary Clinton threw in her hat into the race almost 2 years before the actual election, and I was so sick and tired of her. I was sick and tired of everybody, and like, I don't have a problem. I wouldn't have a problem if our caps were bigger than yours, because we're a bigger country.
Yeah, no, it'd be more practical to have a much wider, because if you consider just like, you know, the UK is like, well, like the size of Texas or something like that. Like it's a relatively small country.
Yeah. So it would make sense to have, you know, they have to travel more. They have the cost of ads for displaying on more sets, you know, all that makes sense to have a significantly larger cap, but a cap nonetheless, I think would be a beneficial, because what that really does to me, I think it really limits the power of big businesses.
Yeah.
Because, well, like and I know it won't happen because of Citizens United, which was, if you're probably familiar with that ruling in America, which basically states money is free speech.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. I remember. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
There's been a long history of, like, you know, a small step forward and then like a massive step back. Like, oh, I can't remember the name of the bill. They did have, and basically over time, the Supreme Court's eroded pretty much any campaigning regulations that there have been. But yeah, I know the case.
Yeah, and there's only so much lobby. Like, if you, I saw a an article the other day that said the top 8 people have more money than the bottom 50% of the entire world.
25
Now,
actually.
what was that?
25.
No, it was 50%.
Is it? It was
Yeah,
25. Last I saw it was a couple of weeks ago, and it says 25%.
I have to look it up. I'll look it up again, but I'm pretty sure it was 50% of the world. Now that's not a very fair number because a lot of Africa has no money. A lot of people in Africa, I should say, because they don't live in an economic style that we do. And same thing with India, where like so many millions of people live on $1.25 a day.
Yeah.
So there's a big portion of that I don't really count because they don't live in the same economic style that modern the most of the modern world lives in.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Jason.
Hey, Jason, can you? Oh, I hear. Wow, that is some unique noises. You kind of sound like a cat.
Yeah.
A robot cat.
Oh, you're really like high pitch. Oh, okay.
Let's go again.
Yeah, he must be trying to. Yeah. But yeah, campaigning. Yeah, no, campaigning regulations though I think are kind of important. And even though I think that I understand to some degree why some people, because in America, you know, like they're always like, oh, you've got to uphold all of your like amendment rights, and obviously I agree with that, but I think some people just take any possible like vague infringement of that in the case of Citizens United, where it's like, oh no, you're limiting how people can spend their money, and I'm like, in relation to specifically campaigning, which really it's beneficial to have caps on, and they're just like, no, getting rid of freedom of speech. Like, no, it's not really removing freedom of speech, but you know, okay.
I'll never understand American politics. In British politics, when your party announces that they are running for a prime minister, they are going to be running for prime minister. In America, it seems like there's more of a chance to kick out as many candidates as possible before the election happens.
So I think the difference in British and American politics is that we don't directly elect our prime minister. So if it was like you vote for your party and then whoever happens to be the leader of that party is then prime minister, but not everyone votes for the leader of parties. That's like purely if you're part of a party. So for example, if you're a member of the Labour Party, you will vote for the Labour leader. Whereas in the US, you directly vote for the president, so everyone gets a vote and a say. So it's kind of a debate, I guess.
It's kind of like that. Can you hear us, Jason?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, hey, we can finally hear you.
Okay, great. Good.
Yay, hi.
Hello.
We're just talking about politics and elections, how Donald Trump has already started his campaign for 20.
Well, yeah. You're constantly campaigning as president for your first term. Hopefully you get some things done like he's been doing during that time.
Yeah.
I think I don't disagree that even as a president, you're still campaigning through your first term, but most presidents don't go campaign rallying. They use just what they do as sort of a demonstration of what they will continue to do.
I don't know. I mean, I don't really have a problem with him doing a thank you tour, as it were. That's not a big deal to me. Do me a favor and link me the watch link so I can take a look at chat. Do we have anybody in chat?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you. Oh. Yeah, we have Glitch in chat, I think. I don't know.
Well, he was. I think I'm the only one watching now. I think he took off.
Yeah.
Well,
we need to
tweet this stuff out, man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. We need to get. I tweeted it out. I don't have many followers on Twitter.
Actually, you tweeted the original Hangout address.
Oh, did you want the maybe?
Oh yeah, that's probably how like some random person joined our chat before. I was really confused.
Yeah, somebody's gonna join now.
That might have
There you
been.
go. There's the. Everyone's gonna join the chat. It'll be great.
Let me delete my tweet because I probably put the wrong one in.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But yeah, I think. I mean,
Jason,
yes.
Yeah, I
Jason,
see
there's
it.
the thing in there. Yeah.
I see it. Thank you.
Yeah, I
Welcome.
sent you out on Twitter, but yeah.
Delete.
I think at least the thing with Trump is, at least I guess, I mean, he's doing what he said he was gonna do. Like, you can't fault him for not keeping to his election promises.
That's
Well,
true.
I think he's mostly keeping to his election promises. I mean, the one thing that I think that the one thing I wanted him to do that he's not doing is joining the swamp. That is the one thing. There's a few things I do agree with Trump that I would have liked to see him do. One of them being bringing in people who aren't Goldman Sachs and all that. The other was putting term limits on our congressmen and women.
Yeah, we desperately need that.
I really agree with him on that one. I mean, I think that's something that definitely in the US that I think that, I mean, obviously as someone who's in the UK, it's kind of different. We don't have any term limits, but I think in the UK as well, it's something that maybe we should possibly consider.
I think it's great. I mean, I think when the founding fathers of America, I mean, since we got a couple of Brits here, the founding fathers of America created the government. They weren't expecting people to be in office for 70 years.
No. Well.
I mean, I don't think anybody's actually been in office that long. I think the longest is like 47 years, 48 years, something like that now.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's the exaggeration, but yeah, you shouldn't be. I don't think you should have more than 2 terms of any office.
I'm not opposed to even for Congress.
You only have 2 years, so I guess you could possibly adjust that. So obviously, you could have possibly, I don't know, like say for example, Senate 4 years, the House of Representatives 2 years. So maybe you could have like 8 years for both or something, the same as the president.
Yeah.
So have like multiple terms, but yeah. I think as well, because part of my problem with politics in both the UK and the US is just that you have just career politicians who have dedicated their entire lives to politics. And there's nothing necessarily, obviously, you want people who are politically aware and who have a grasp of politics, but just people who haven't really had experience of anything outside of that can create kind of a lack of wealth of experience that would be beneficial when you're discussing various issues. For example, like discussing science. It would be nice if somebody actually had experience in science, etc. Like,
yeah, I had a teacher who was very excited about a particular congressman who he's the only one in American Congress who has an engineering degree. And he's really excited about him because they have a totally different perspective of how to solve problems.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, draining the swamp. I don't know. I mean, his cabinet, I'm not very impressed with. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't know if he does do things like install term limits or try and push that through Congress. I think that would be a good thing.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Those were the 2 biggest things I liked about Trump. There's not a lot that I can say I like about Trump, but those were some great ideas. I think those are some of the better ideas that he had. So, but those are the 2 things I haven't seen him even attempt to do.
Yeah, his cabinet specifically talking about. I mean, Betty DeVoe. I'm pretty sure that most people can agree is like a train wreck and a half. Like, someone that has very limited experience in education, has a very clear, Christian agenda. Doesn't really watching watching her Senate confirmation hearing was just her being like, yes, I agree with transparency. And they're just like, what are you going to do about possible universities like Trump University that exploit people, basically? And she's just like, I'll look into it. And it's like, no, have some actual plans. And it's so frustrating.
Yeah. I'll look into it, which to me is code for I can't say anything because the person who assigned me to this would get upset. That's my view on it.
I'm kind of in favor of people who are antagonistic to government programs being in charge of those government programs.
Yeah.
Because they have to justify their budget.
Yeah. I think my problem is that a lot of like the Senate confirmation hearing just seemed to be her just winging it and just being like, oh, I don't really know anything, so I'm just gonna kind of blag my way through it. And it's like, you can do that when, I don't know, like you're a uni student, like running, like when I've been running for like exec positions in uni, you just blag, you just turn up and see how it goes. But I think if you're gonna be like in an actual executive position, maybe you should have a bit more of a clear idea of what you want to do and what you think the problems of the system are.
A bit of education might help as well.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think it was kind of unfair though, to some degree, for them to be like, oh no, well, have you had, university grants and stuff? Because I mean, like, part of me thinks that you can be sympathetic to people in certain positions even if you haven't experienced those positions. I think my problem is just she clearly just doesn't care. If she cared, even though she'd not had those personal experiences,
well,
I don't think it would really be that big of a deal.
I don't necessarily I don't have a problem with people being antagonistic to the field, but for example, the guy who's in charge of the EPA has been a climate denier for a very long time, and I think it could, it scares me to think, not the climate denier part, but it scares me to think that he's going to enact policy without, like, because he's so invested in his belief that no matter the amount of evidence that his own organization might show him, he's going to go against it because it's such an ingrained belief.
Yeah, I think that's my main concern with the current administration, because climate change in America is something that does affect the rest of the world. Climate change policy in America can have a significant, like, in the same with China, especially, like, China needs to get their shit together. They're trying. Oh, yeah. China, you're killing the rest of the world, and we're all trying. Like, please do us a favor. Like, but yeah, if America removes a lot of its restraints on and regulations on climate change, etc., because basically you're under an administration that doesn't believe that climate change is real, then I think that causes significant long-term problems that affect more than America, and therefore that's kind of something that I'm concerned about.
What's up, Marking Bad? Why don't you retweet my shit, dude?
Welcome, Marking Bad.
Hey.
Oh, did you guys partake in the thunderclap that happened just a little while ago?
The what?
Sargon had set up a thunderclap. Basically, you have a whole bunch of people all tweet the same thing at the same exact time.
Oh, yeah, there's a site that helps set that up called Thunderclap or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I missed that. I wasn't in before, so that's probably why I missed it.
Well, approximately 28 minutes ago, the tweet, "Dear mainstream media, we won't let you, dear mainstream media, jokes are not evidence of bigotry, you morons. We won't let you gas the jokes. Hashtag gas the jokes."
Fair enough. But yeah, actually, mainstream media is on one of our talking points, isn't it? Yeah, like
it is.
Yeah,
I think it's
a
perfect segue.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, it annoys me because obviously, clearly, lots of media outlets have an agenda, and twisting the facts in a way that benefits your agenda is frustrating. When you just tweet things, or when you just write articles that are blatantly false, like the Pewdiepie thing, it's just really annoying. It's like, why accuse someone of being freaking an anti-Semite when they made some jokes that you clearly took out of context. Like
Exactly.
I think mainstream media is doing themselves a disservice. There's a video of Denzel Washington. Have you guys seen this one where he talks about mainstream media and all that?
No. Do you have it? Do you want to?
Yeah, I can put it and link it. Let's see.
We'll just present it.
Denzel Washington mainstream media video. All right, let me see if I can find it. I want to find a. There was one where I watched it and I want to find the right one because there's one where they add their own like. This is what he's talking about liberal media. No, he's talking about all liberal. He's talking about all media. Okay, how do I? Let's see. How do I do that? Share my screen or something? Or
yeah, screen share is on the. You go mouse over to the top left.
All right, screen share. Let's move to my other screen. 1 second. And then share screen. There it is. Share. All right, you guys see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
I think do I hit cameraman? Yeah, there we go. All right. Can you guys hear it?
No.
Nope.
Okay. How do I share the sound?
Well, until recently I could have, but I had to uninstall the program because I couldn't hear anything because it wasn't starting.
Oh. Well, I could break it down.
Yeah, just break it down.
Wait, let's broadcast a large video I see in my audience to the feeds. I'll turn that off anyways. Anyways, so
sorry, we've just got a question from the chat. Do you think Milo will ever run for public office?
Will Milo run for public? Oh, probably not. Not after what happened recently.
Yeah. It kind of. I did a video on this recently. Like, I kind of cited a lot of academic content on the psychology of victims because I felt like that was kind of missing. But I mean, I disagreed with his statements, but at the same time, like, he was clearly talking about his own personal experience, and I think what's frustrating is that men and actually gay men particularly already struggle with their relationship with always being perceived as masculine.
Mm-hmm.
And that really does, in a lot of ways, complicate them coming out as victims because it clearly creates a narrative that in society is viewed as unmasculine, and that, you know, any sign of weakness means that, you know, like, you're not a man anymore, which is bullshit. But also, even just like people like, oh no, well, you know, because I think Thunderfoot did a video that kind of annoyed me a bit on this. Because he basically, Milo said in the past, made a joke, he was like, oh no, I'm the predator, as a joke. And then he was like, oh no, but you're a victim when it suits you. And I'm just like, no, first of all, that was clearly a joke. And also, what the fuck? Like, he was a young boy assaulted by a priest. In no way is he the predator in that situation. Like, it was clearly a joke. And also, like, it's just, even if part of him did think of him as the predator, it's because in systems, in instances of abuse, like, children can't distinguish between a physiological reaction, like a biological reaction, and willingness. So an abuser will go, oh, well, you know, you've got an erection, etc., or there's a physiological response from you. Therefore, this is you being complicit in this act. Well, which, as a child, you can't really distinguish, which kind of frustrated me. It's just like, yeah.
That's ignoring grooming.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm hearing myself.
It's not for me.
Yeah, I've got headphones in. Maybe I'll turn my headphones down just in case there is a bit of an echo.
Does somebody have? I don't know. I'm not hearing myself.
Yeah, I'm not hearing you twice. Weird.
If you've got the chat open, is it muted? The video?
No, I've only got Twitter and this open. Okay, this is just a bad day for me. I don't know why. We'll soldier through.
Milo. Yeah. Anyways, I was talking about the Denzel Washington. Anyways, so a news reporter comes up to him and she talks about she was asking him about a recent article that this was before the election about how he had switched his allegiance from Hillary Clinton to Donald Trump. And so his response about media was let's see, how did he word it? He was saying who's so oh man, I should have watched this before I commented, but he was talking about how it's if you watch the media, I mean if you listen to the media, you're misinformed. If you don't listen to the media, you're uninformed. So what do you do about it? And he says that's a great question. It's the media's responsibility to ensure that the information is correct, and what you practice you will get better at. So if the media continues to practice to making sure their information is correct, then they will get better at making sure their information is correct. It shouldn't be about who's first, but who's right. And he says it a lot more elegantly than I can. That guy is very elegant in his
Well,
Yeah.
Gamergate was kind of a warning to us about ethics in journalism, to be honest with you.
yeah.
Yeah, no, the Gamergate controversy was just, it's frustrating as well, like I'm sure DJ Kitty can agree, as like a woman in the games frequently, it's just like, these problems never occurred to me growing up, and they still don't bother me now, and I'm just like, people are like, oh no, like, you know, it's just sexism in gaming, and then, you know, like, all of this really corrupt journalism around it, which is basically just like, oh, you know, I'll suck your dick, and then, like, you know, you give me, like, it's just, it's frustrating, it's just like, it's like,
Someone
lots
note
of
the
these
time
women
on that,
really
so you can always have
I'll
lawful
suck your
neutral
dick.
saying, "I'll suck your dick."
I'm good at it though, so you know, if you give me a good price, it'll be okay.
Well, I've been playing video games since 2003,
Hmm.
and I'm in that a whole time. I've only seen any form of sexist behaviour 3 times in 5 games.
Yeah, and I think as well it
Ooh,
depends on just the
ooh.
games you play.
This will be a fun exercise. Kitty, what were the sexist behaviors you've seen?
Well, there was one. I was in Second Life. One guy decided that girls shouldn't wear trousers.
What the
Okay.
fuck? That's sarcasm.
He was Arab, so it was part of his religion that girls don't wear trousers, and he was trying to push that upon me. Another one was a guy who spent 4 hours trying to pixel sex me.
Oh.
Um,
No, what you do is when guys send you nudes, you just send back a rating of 2 out of 10 and just watch as their entire self-esteem just crumbles in on itself, and you're just like, I've seen better, I'm sorry. That's not long enough, damn it. Don't waste my time if you only got 3 inches.
yeah, the other time was actually a woman who had been going to a PvP match, and I'd lost, and the first thing she said was, "How's it feel to lose to a girl?"
What the fuck? No, that annoys me, right? Because I think it annoys me, women, it annoys me that specifically, like, in certain situations, I think it was discussed a bit in the chat on White Cis Male's stream last night, that other women just seem to try and, like, I know they probably didn't know you were a girl, but other women seem to have this thing with bringing other women down in situations, like, because I don't know, it's really odd, and like I don't really understand this big fascination with, especially like just kind of being like, oh no, like this woman, like, you know, I'm like the only good female gamer or something like that, and shit like that you see in the gaming community, and you're just like, what the fuck, like, just I don't understand.
So I see a lot of sexism in games, and it's only because of the game I play. I play a lot of Dota 2.
I play Dota 2. Dota 2 is funny.
And it's not sexism because they hate women. It's sexism because it is the saltiest group of people you have ever played with.
It's so literally, like, it's funny. There was this one guy that was like, "Oh, I'm gonna read your mum because I don't think he had very good English," and I said, "Oh, that's okay. I'll just fuck yours though if you don't mind." And he got so angry with me. He got so angry with me. And I was like, it was just Dota 2 is full of like the saltiest people ever. It's like it goes from like 0 to 100 really quickly in disputes in Dota.
I like when people talk bad about my mom. I don't like my mom. I've completely disconnected from her. And so they'll call my mom a whore, and I'll be like, yeah, you should probably get yourself checked out if you had that.
I'm not allowed to talk bad about my mum.
What was that?
I'm not allowed to talk bad about my mum. I live with her.
Mm-hmm.
It would probably be a bad idea.
Yeah, but like, I think sexism in games, like, go back to kind of the whole Gamergate thing and corrupt media, like, it's just it comes back to just like ideology, just completely like determining how you like kind of view journalism. It's basically a bunch of bloggers now with the title of journalism. And it frustrates me because part of it is actually our own fault, just because we haven't been contributing to journalists for a significant number of years. So there's no funding for real investigative journalism anymore, meaning that the way that they make money is through just like, you know, just like this peddling this kind of bullshit because that's what sells. And it's just like, it's, yeah.
I think
the fact that we allow it is it's just that we allow them to describe themselves as that, and we don't call them out on the fact that they're not actual journalists, they're just doing videos.
I think there is a lot of good journalists out there, and I think there's, even in the mainstream media, there is a lot of good mainstream media.
Yeah.
But it's being obfuscated by all the yellow media. If you guys are familiar with the term, it's so there. Like if you go to, and even if you go to Huffington Post, there are good articles on there. There are good information on there about certain topics, but there's also way more opinion pieces and way more bad stuff that shouldn't be presented as news.
Yeah, it's somebody. It's like a keyboard warrior that has like too high a payroll, just chatting shit.
Yeah.
But rather, unlike us, where we just chat shit on YouTube, they get paid a lot more and chat shit, and people think it's actually like legitimate investigative journalism. Like, it's just, it's not true. It's like they're just the glorified bloggers, and it just annoys me.
So Marking Bad says that yellow journalism made a comeback around the time that Drudge broke Lewinsky's scandal. I don't think yellow journalism has ever really gone away. I mean, even the original print media from like the 1920s had a lot of yellow journalism. It's basically been clickbait from the beginning. But I'm hearing somebody type.
Oh, it's me.
Okay. No, it's fine. That's my view, though. I mean, I think do you guys watch The Game Theorist?
I've watched. Yeah,
I've seen The Game Theorist.
Yeah.
He had a good video on yellow journalism, and he goes through the history of it, and it's I think it was pretty interesting. He believes that, so surmising from all the he also has what he thinks is the solution to preventing yellow journalism is subscription-based model of selling newspaper rather than ad-based. Because if they don't have to get so many clicks, then they don't have to have captivating headlines and sell the yellow as much as they can make sure that they get the good stuff in there.
I think the problem is that you already have like subscription-based models, and so like say for example like the Huffington Post, where you have a subscription-based model but there's still significant yellow journalism. I think part of that is because at the end of the day, like, you need to bring something in that will draw people in. And, you know, what's going to draw you in more? Like, you see a headline that PewDiepie's a Nazi, or, you know, let's look at, like I don't know, like, the economics of you know, like, this incredibly complex, like, the TPP. Like, let's look at the economics of the TPP. Like, one of them is going to draw in more people than the other. One of them may have more value, but at the end of the day, like, they're still a business, which, you know... Fun times.
Well, their business model is based on getting eyes on ads, and getting eyes on ads means getting people to click your link, and the best way to get somebody to click your link is with a salacious headline or salacious title or some sort of crazy picture in there.
Yeah.
I try my hardest when I create. Oh, can you guys still hear me? My screen's just went off because I haven't moved. When I create thumbnails for my videos, I do try to make them interesting, but relevant. That's what I try. Something that will draw the eye in. How do you guys tend to go about creating your thumbnails?
I don't have a good Photoshop system, so mine are really shit, my thumbnails. It's something I'm going to work on in the future, promise, when I can be bothered.
Well, what I do is I pretty much grab a screen from within the video itself, and then I lay a title over it.
Okay.
That's what I do, and I usually take if I'm doing a response video, I usually try to get the person with their eyes closed, just for it's funnier.
Oh, your wife makes yours.
Your wife makes yours. Fair enough. If women have to be useful for something, god damn it.
I'm taking art as a minor. I'm garbage at art. In my university, and I'm hoping to get better. So I can't art myself, but I have a drawing tablet. I have Photoshop. I have a character animator, which I can show you what it looks like when I run it up, because you guys can see what you guys want. I'll make sure you guys can't see me because I still want you guys to see me, but it's pretty cool. This is a great program. Let me get it set up. Okay. Share my screen.
Hey, Lawful, you don't need Photoshop. There are a couple of free tools like GIMP and Paint.net.
Yeah, I'll try. I've installed GIMP, but I'm really shit with it because I am the definition of a female that can't technology. Okay, like I gave it a good go, and I've tried my best, but I need someone else to come help me. I have my friend in my phone that is listed as IT support, just to give you an idea of how much I call him when things break. And I'm like, please fix it. I tried, and I don't know. Like my computer knowledge runs to try defragging your computer or running a disk scan, and if that doesn't fix it, you're fucked. Yeah.
So this is the program that I use, which it maps my speech to certain mouth movements, and it tracks my eyes and head movements, so that way it sways back and forth, or if I move forward, or if I blink my eyes, or things like that. So I think it's a pretty cool program.
Yeah, that's cool.
It took me like, so the picture I drew, I actually drew this picture myself. It took me about 8 hours to draw, to get all the things right that I wanted. I still want to work on it, make it look better. But it only took me about an extra 2 hours to turn it from a still picture into an animated picture with this program.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I do mine faster.
Yeah.
I do. I've got the I can't remember what the program is. It's Crazy Talk. It was Bane666 suggested it to me. And basically, I take the audio file, upload it into a picture, and the picture itself had been mapped out where the eyes, nose, and mouth are. And I'll just move the still picture around it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah. By the way, back onto. I think we wanted to talk about the transgender bathroom issue. I think.
Yeah, that sounds like that's something that's come up recently.
Let's get something really controversial going, guys.
Okay.
Like, I watched Blair White's video on it, and I thought Blair White's video on it was pretty fair. I mean, I think that there should be standards of, like, you know, a doctor being like, this person has gender dysphoria, like, you know, for children. And also, like, I think the changing room thing necessarily isn't a problem. I think because you just don't see people's genitals in female changing rooms, if anything, like, you just don't look. You don't like I think that people like girls in changing rooms, it's just like everyone's like hidden under coats anyway already. Like, so you don't really see anything and shit. So, but like,
yes.
I think
more about the girls' changing room.
I think the difference.
If we have showers and we all get naked, okay? And then
Uh-huh.
we all go in the shower, and then what we do is afterwards we all find pillows because we carry pillows with us everywhere and have a
Cool.
pillow fight naked.
Oh,
While we
awesome.
go in the shower. I'll send you a video next time I'm in the changing room.
Oh, thanks. I really appreciate that.
I think the difference between the British public toilets and the American ones is that in America they have these huge gaps you just see right through when you're walking past. But Britain, they're all closed off. They're all overlapped. The doors overlap with the cubicle walls. So it doesn't really affect Britain that much.
Yeah. I think as well, like people just, I've never had a conversation with some, well, I mean, unless it's on a night out at the club, and it is true that girls will go to a toilet to discuss guys that they're gonna fuck. It's true, right? It's not a myth. Girls go to the toilet in groups to have girl chats. It's not a myth made up by girls. It legit happens. So I mean, like you have conversations there, but like just like when you're going shopping and stuff, like I've never had a conversation with someone in the bathroom. Like it's not something that happens. I imagine guys, it especially doesn't happen if you're at urinals. You're just kind of like don't make eye contact with anyone. Yeah.
It's you know, I find it odd when people say like they don't want transgender people in the bathroom with their daughters. You know, because they're creeps or whatever. It's such a stupid argument because they're not going to go to the bathroom with your daughter. They're going to go to the bathroom with your son. It doesn't change. Like if that's really a concern of yours, it doesn't really change
it's because it's easier to make women into victims. So you know, because everyone gives a shit. Like nobody cares. Like in the UK until 2003, it wasn't illegal to have sexual relations with a boy under 13.
Ugh.
Which is gross as fuck. Yeah, like I did a video on the 2003 Sexual Offences Act because it still needs to be reformed, and I broke down the different offences and stuff. But yeah, until 2003, it was only penetration with like a penis, and the law exclusively focused on she as like the victim, and just young boys weren't protected under it.
So I know there's a difference between how the law is worded and how it's interpreted. So for example, if there was a case brought up, would they say, well, the intent of the law was to protect younger people? And
there was some vague common law. There was like kind of a vague common law like for really young kids. Like it depended heavily on the situation and whether the statute could be stretched to protect that. But for not when I say older boys, I mean still like children. There wasn't really that much protection of it because if anything, it was just like socially, it wasn't really viewed that like it was viewed that teenage boys like want to have sex with their teachers and stuff, which maybe they do, but like the teachers still shouldn't like be doing
take advantage.
Yeah, it's like I think my view is very much just like it doesn't matter how much a child pursues an adult, like you as an adult have an obligation to turn around and tell the kid to fuck off, basically. Like
yeah. I mean, so the original case that started the transgender bathroom, there was, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. It was a transitioning. I always forget how this works. It was a male who transitioned. Well, it was a female who transitioned into a male, and she'd been living. I guess I don't have a problem with.
Oh no, you just misgendered them.
I know. I'm so bad. For male to female, I do try to call them by the gender they prefer. I'm not going to call somebody Z, G, all that nonsense because that's so stupid. But if it's a person transitioning from male to female, I do try to respect that or either way. But he had been living as a guy for 2 years, been using the bathroom at the school with nobody in the school caring for 6 months. And he had been diagnosed as having gender dysphoria and everything else. And the people, like some parents got wind of it, and they were the ones who made a big fuss about the whole situation, not even the kids. Because the person, like I said, for the most part, he looked like a guy. That's just not a big deal to me. I have a couple of transgender people at my university who you could tell were guys, they were pretty obvious they were guys. But they've been living as transgender people, and they're obviously not just creeps. I don't care if they use whatever bathroom their personal gender assignment, whatever their personal gender they care about is.
I think
they're just going.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I think my main frustration on topic is that the average person that maybe doesn't know that much about trans people, who have like genuine concerns because they just don't know a lot about it. Like, I'm sympathetic towards that. Like, I really am. Like, I mean, like, because it like, but what annoys me is when like people who like politicians and shit who like, I mean, I know politicians always like do things because it's what'll appeal to their base. But I think it always frustrates me in any topic where politicians just basically make shit up to suit their agenda and then just like cause fear amongst their base where they really shouldn't be, because like they're just like, oh no, they're gonna come in, like people are gonna use it to rape your children, so then obviously everyone's gonna be like, I don't want my kid to be raped, like maybe this is a bad idea, and you're like, that's not what's gonna happen. Like, stop causing fear in people, for fuck's sake, it's so unnecessary. Like,
yeah, but in saying that, if you watch your sister, daughter, mother going into a bathroom and then see somebody who on a first impression gives you the impression that they are male, following them, you're going to be concerned and you're not going to be able to do anything about it.
Yeah, I think that outward appearance matters a lot for this.
yeah,
Like, take Blair White. If you didn't know that she was trans, you would never even suspect it.
yeah, if she walked into the men's change room, you'd be like, are you drunk and walked into the wrong bathroom by accident? Like, But I mean, like, and I think to some degree trans people are aware of that. Like, I know my girlfriend, she's pre-transition, so she goes to the men's bathroom because she knows that she looks like a man, and she doesn't want to cause any she just wants to go piss. Like, she doesn't want to cause a scene when she just wants to go to the toilet. So, like, anything. So I think that trans people are already kind of aware of that. I think again, they're like, I think if all the people who aren't trans, say for example, are going to just use that I'm trans as an excuse to do it, which I think is like a debate to be had. I think like they're already going to do it anyway. They've already been like people already put cell phones in bathrooms, and they've been doing it for years without using the trans excuse, and I don't see how like this in particular is going to do anything about that. Like, they only care now because it feels like they only care now because they can get votes from it and get popularity because they're protecting women and children when they've not gave a shit for years that it's been happening. Like, I don't know.
So I agree that outward appearance does matter. I mean, I feel that I don't think that I wouldn't consider you a trans person if you are not making an attempt to make an outward appearance transition to your, like, I don't care if you're terrible at it. Like I said, there are a couple guys at my university, a couple women at my university who they will, no matter how much they take hormones, no matter how much they try, they will never look like women. They were probably ugly guys in the first place. But they truly believe they are women. They are not trying to just be creeps. Nobody lives that life just to get into a bathroom. Like, if it was like most of these people you see them around the campus and you see them they stand out because at first you're like, is that a guy or is that a girl? And then you realize that it's a guy trying to be a girl.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should have the right to be able to go into the women's bathroom because by all accounts, in their mind, they are women. They're not going in there to be creeps. It may feel a little odd at first, but
yeah, I think once people get used to it, it's going to be one of those things where people will be like, why does he even care? Everyone just wants to go.
But I think, like I said at the beginning of what I was saying is I don't consider you trans unless you are making an attempt to make an outward transition as well. Even if you fail terribly at it.
Yeah.
Because like Blair is a beautiful trans woman.
Yeah, no, she
No
is.
doubt about that. Many trans people can't achieve that, and to me, it's not fair for Blair to be able to go into the bathroom because she's pretty, and you would never be able to tell. As for somebody who can't achieve that, that's the way I view it.
Yeah.
Tell me if you guys disagree with me.
No,
Yeah.
I agree with that, but I do understand the concern that people have if they don't, if they're not expecting it.
Oh yeah, I understand. Like I said, I
This is
understand.
the Republic, but you're just throwing this whole new situation that they've never dealt with in the past. And I think the important thing is to just be understanding about their position and try to answer any questions as honestly and politely as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I think you have to be sympathetic, but some people just like don't really know anything about it. And so like even in a university setting where I am now, lots of people don't know about it, really. Like, they know it exists. They just have never really encountered it. Don't have an understanding of it. So then when they meet people who are trans, it's new. And they do have a lot of questions to ask. And what annoys me is kind of like this attitude that kind of like, I don't know, SJW is having in regards not just to trans people, but into like any kind of LGBT or race issue where like people just ask a genuine question that's not meant in any way to offend. I'm like, oh no, it's a microaggression or some shit, and you're like, no, like it's not meant to harm anyone. It's just like they just genuinely like don't know anything about it and want to discuss it. Like I don't.
Right.
I think. Go ahead, Jason.
Right. I mean, asking questions and trying to learn more. They don't have an answer, so they'll just say, "I don't." It's not my job to educate you. Or
Oh, that's so annoying.
Yeah, that I hate that. Glitch actually had a great question. He says, "Do you guys think this is mainly targeted to biological males?" I feel like that is a bit.
Yeah, I feel like people aren't worried about, I don't know, I guess biologically people who are female going into the men's bathroom, because I think part of it is this cultural understanding of almost that like women can't be rapists whereas men can. So if
Yeah.
you view them as like people aren't saying like, oh no, women are going to go into the bathroom and like molest young boys, like, and I know part of it is because like statistically, yes, men do commit more assault, but it's like, I don't know, I feel like it feeds into that narrative a bit because it's if anything, it's more easy to get elected on that narrative than the other way around.
Well, like I said, the first case, the one that's actually going to the Supreme Court this year in America, is a biological female. One of the things I would like to see in the census coming up in a couple of years, I'd like to find out how many trans people there actually are. I'd like to see that on the census because I'm a huge fan of data. I like to collect. I want to know as much data as possible and be able to make better judgments based on data. I don't care. Some people would say that it's too. It would be saying that trans people are good. I disagree. I think it's just. I don't think the census is confirming that trans people are better or worse. I think I just want to know. Like, I want to know what the population is in America of transgender people and male to female, because one thing I see a lot about trans people is we talk a lot about male to female trans people like Blair, but we don't see a lot of female to male. And I wonder, I'd like to know, is it more common for men to transition or for females to transition?
Yeah.
I think it's more common for the men to transition to females because the female to male procedure hasn't been perfected to any degree that's satisfactory. You can't, when you get the surgeries, after surgery, a female to male can have sex, but female to male can't in the same degree because they have to manually obtain an erection. The doctors can't simulate that.
Yeah, like Marking Bad said, as I understand it, male to female is far more common, but I don't have any data to back it up.
I'll have a look and see if I can find anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, like trans people, I think Blair White brought up a good point, I think, in her video in regards to being very such a small population, such a small part of the population, but you can deal with this on an individual basis. And a blanket policy, maybe if you had a blanket policy which was like basic protections for trans people, I don't know, but then most of it was still dealt with what other people, say for example the school and doctors and the parents, etc., and the child feel like what's best, because they're such a small part of the population. It's easy to deal with them on a case-by-case basis. It in like a school setting, which is like this kind of specific, this what Obama's policy focused on, because like what there's going to be like she said, like mainly maybe three trans people at most in your school who have like I don't know. I feel like it's easier to deal with it by case basis than say for example like it's like, because it's not like dealing with I don't know like say gay people or like like different ethnicities or gender. It's like it's a small part of the population that can be dealt with fairly easily.
Yeah.
In 2012, there was an article brought out about male to female are 3 times more common than female to male.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, most of the data that we have, even Blair has talked about this in some of her stuff, often is social,
it's geared towards an agenda. So it's either like a SJW or like somebody that wants to prove that all trans people are evil and there isn't real. Like,
yeah, so many of the studies have been social studies instead of data collecting studies. And like, kind of like the 1 in 4 women will be raped on campus. That was done as a social study, as a not like it. Those studies have a lot less. They usually don't have a whole lot of data. They're usually small sample sizes. They're usually they're not usually as encompassing, and they don't have as much data to encompass. But with a poll, well, with the census, there's a lot more data, and since it's anonymous, anybody can, like, you're gonna get a margin of error of people who lie, and you're gonna get a margin of people who misunderstand or whatever.
Sure.
But the numbers are going to be a lot more representational.
Yeah, and you also get the ones who are too afraid to admit to it because the families and friends to deal with.
Yes.
I think on this, like, I want to, like, this is something that I'm kind of interested in. And I think this kind of relates to this in that why hasn't maybe, like, even though, say, for example, like, YouTube, I feel is very dominated by, feminism is rubbish. Like, that kind of premise.
Yeah.
But even if, like, say, for example, in the UK, a very small number of people identify with feminists, a lot of, like, the feminist rhetoric, like the wage gap, is still actually very popular. And a lot of people still believe it. And I was thinking, like, I feel like part of the reason why it struggles from, like, the online, like, to make the transition from the online world to the real world is partly because, like, people just deem us as, like, Nazis and fascists and all that shit. But I think another part of it is that I think to some degree, even if it's not statistically valid, women do still feel unsafe, and women have still like a lot of women have still had experiences with like creepy guys. I'd argue that you should just like tell them to fuck off, but I understand that not everyone's confident in dealing with those situations. And I don't know, like I think part of it is that, I mean, I kind of want to discuss this a bit more, but be sympathetic towards. I do kind of want to be a bit more sympathetic towards women that express concern, rather than just kind of go, oh, well, the statistics don't prove it, and kind of laugh it off. Because I feel like it's like one of the things that I think is like, say, for example, why the Trump campaign won, is that he appealed to people's emotions and offered solutions to those problems. I do feel like the Democrats did. And I feel like part of it is that women feel unsafe in certain scenarios, and feminism offers a solution to that, even if I think that solution's rubbish. And I think that that's something that, like, I think the anti-SJW sphere could maybe do a bit more to discuss, like maybe kind of go like, listen, this we understand that like you feel like this, it's not statistically significant, but you know, and maybe kind of offer some solutions on how to cope with those feelings of victimhood outside of just the statistics don't prove it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the reason that feminism is being used in politics at the moment is because it was being pushed by protests for 100 years, whereas the anti-feminists weren't, because they were just pushed aside. It's like, if you want things to be to remain the way they are, you don't need to say anything because things will remain the way they are. But if you want things to change, then you're going to be more vocal.
That's true.
And yeah, and so for the past 150 years, we've had this feminist movement growing, never quickly, but it has been growing, and now it's just a matter of finding out exactly what feminism specifically wants, and dealing with those issues specifically.
Get rid of them all, you know.
Yeah, but I think
10% of the population.
Yeah. But I think we've got to be able to give both sides their own little platforms, so that we can discuss amongst themselves and they can debate each other.
I think part of it is that feminists don't want feminists online especially don't want discussions, which is frustrating, because like I think it'd be great to debate them, but
I do too, and the reason that we don't do that is because the moment someone says, well, here's an example of why men are being treated differently than women, it derails the entire conversation that women want.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing would happen if the men's rights advocates started to gain ground. They would see things where women are being treated unfairly, and they would want to talk about it.
I had something I wanted to run by you guys. So I consider myself a liberal and a left-leaning person.
Boo, hiss, boo.
Yeah. I don't. My question is, like, the reason I consider myself anti-feminist is they make liberals and left-leaning people seem crazy. And it's a common thing that I see a lot of people like, oh, the left is anti-free speech. The left is this. And like, I've even seen Dave Rubin say these sort of comments about how being free speech is a right-leaning idea. I don't agree with that. I think there's a very vocal group of left people like feminists and SJWs. What do you guys think about that?
I think feminists are sexist towards both men and women, because they're treating men like they're always in the wrong, and women are perfect little angels.
I agree with that.
And they also treat women as if they can't do anything for themselves. And it's the whole thing of you need feminism.
Yeah.
And they basically make women themselves look like lunatics.
I think what annoys me the most about it is that they take, for example, like experiences, for example, where women have genuinely been a victim of something horrible, like rape or something, and then they twist it so that, you know, like feminism is the solution for that, and basically exploit that abuse to feed their own narrative. And then these people, like, and then it kind of like, and then they go, oh look, see this, what this happened to this woman, like this is why you need feminism, and you're like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, and they try to escalate it to imply that it happens to every single woman everywhere.
Yeah, every single woman every day is raped.
Right.
It happens every day. Every day, can confirm.
They have such a problem with how women or anybody other than a non-white male is portrayed in the media. You can't portray them as human with flaws. You have to portray them as perfect little angels that never do anything wrong.
That with Marvel quite a lot lately.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh look, see, strong, independent black woman, and you're like, we're about, you know, like pro character development and, you know, conflict. No, we can't have that because, you know, we must overcome everything ever. And you're just like, that's such a boring story, if nothing else. Like, I have no problem with, like, you know, a strong, independent black female as the main character. But, like, please create conflict and have an actual narrative other than that be the only thing about your freaking comic. It's so annoying.
Let's use Game of Thrones as an example. Okay, so in the press, no one had a problem with Theon getting emasculated.
Yeah.
But all these journalists, these feminist journalists had such a huge problem with Sansa getting raped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think that there was a valid discussion there to some degree, and that I guess it was, I mean, like, I'm not necessarily agreeing with it, but I understood the arguments of it wasn't that she got raped, it's that it was through Theon's point of view, so it kind of made it so that as a victim, it wasn't about Sansa's experience, it was about how it affected Theon. But my answer to that would be is that Theon's a more important character. I don't know. Like,
he really is.
The thing I find about feminists and media is they complain. There's a lot of complaining about how there's not enough strong women in media, or and you say, well, make your own show, and they do, and it often turns out terrible.
Yeah, I think Steven Universe is probably the only, like, I don't know, SJW show that's had like a lot of praise. And I mean, I've not really watched it, but it just seemed like a good show, in fairness. Like, I know people who are critical of feminists who say, yeah, it was a well-written show, like, it did a lot of good things. But most of the time, but, like, the thing with that show is, even though it had, like, you know, all of this, like, non-binary... Oh, yes, I've read the comment about bad leftists. He wants you to read the comment about bad leftists. Mocking. No, yeah, but, like, the thing with that show is that, once again, like, it created conflict outside of, like, you know, non-binary gender identities and shit. So even then, like, that wasn't all that the show was about, whereas, like, they're so focused on pushing an agenda that they forget that they're supposed to be telling a fucking story that's supposed to, like, engage and be relatable with people. Like, I don't see a woman and automatically go, oh, I can relate to this story so much, you know, it's a good job that she has a vagina, otherwise, you know, there would be nothing I could engage with in this story. Like, it's stupid. It's like, that's not enough for me. Like, I don't know.
I think that not only do you have to make this show and make it interesting, but if you don't point out that this is for a political reason, people are going to be more interested in it.
So like, did you guys see the game Sunset? It was one of those.
Sunset Overdrive, or
No.
Sunset.
I know what you're talking about.
This was it was so much praise on, I think it was Kotaku. It was the worst. Like, it was obviously it was scripted. How, like, because these people are not very good at reading scripts. What's the word? With enthusiasm. They were like, oh, have you seen this game Sunset? Oh, it's so good. And it's, you know what it's about is this black woman who's stuck in South America during the middle of a war, and she has to clean up an apartment. And there was so much praise about it because the main character is a black woman. The game sucked. Like, it was supposed to be like sort of like an interactive, like, you learn about the story along, but the story was boring. The interaction, like, if you had to clean up a rug, you go to the rug, you hit a button, and it takes a far out shot of the building, and it's like 10 minutes later, the rug's fixed. So you don't even see her fixing the rug. And the developer had a breakdown on Twitter about how everybody's racist because they didn't like their game because they hate black people.
It's true. That's the only possible criticism that anyone could ever have of a piece of media, that it was racist. Not that it couldn't have been. That it annoys me though as well, because what makes me laugh is that a lot of people, like, on, like, the topic of, like, games again, like, people like, but look at all these games that have strong female character leads. Look at, like, BioWare, like, you're treated the same whether you're a male or a female in the narrative, like, and they're just like, no, they don't count. And you're like they don't count, and I'm like, yeah, BioWare isn't an established company that hasn't been doing this for, like, freaking a long ass time, you know. It's not like a new thing. Like, they've been having like female and male characters like interchangeable with no real effect on the narrative for for a long time. Like it's just why are you so stupid? It annoys me.
All right, guys. I'm sorry that I have to cut this short, but I do have to go get ready for an engagement. This was a lot of fun. I'd like to do it again.
Yeah, Jason. Sorry we had some troubles getting you in at the beginning.
That was mostly on my side, so don't worry about it.
Okay, cheerio, lightweight.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. We'll do a stream again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right. I'll talk to you later, guys.
All right,
See you
later,
Yeah, I'll
Jason.
see ya.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah. So, is there anything that anyone particularly want? What was it? What another thing? Oh yeah. General activism and debate techniques, I think, is one that is on there.
Yes,
yeah, that is.
Yeah.
that was my idea to talk about that.
Yeah.
What I've noticed is that on Twitter, actually on YouTube as well, the social justice warriors are now taking the same positions or same tactics as the anti-social justice warriors were before, and vice versa. And I find a lot more now that they're fighting. The two groups are fighting with each other on the. It's like Thunderfoot and Sargon used to be friends. Now they just can't stop insulting each other. Handful of opinions and I'm a skeptic as well.
Yeah.
They've just gotten to this point where they've gone so far into their sides that they're starting to switch sides and do the exact opposite of what they're claiming to do.
I think part of it is inevitable because ultimately feminist content on YouTube is kind of disappearing. So if anything, just from if it's what you've built your business around, like you have to find something that will also appeal to people. And I think it's now like people like I mean for legitimate reasons, I think always it's the same with when, you know, like for example, like I used to watch, you know, The Amazing Atheist, Mr. Epsilon, like people like that back when religion was the main focus.
Yeah.
And anti-religious content just kind of became stale in a lot of ways. Like you still have it every now and again now because like there are still crazy religious people and you're just like, why are you so stupid? But
yeah,
like
and
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's also the thing of the things you were saying back then. They're getting so common that we just send over and over again, and it just starts to sound more boring. It's like we know what's going to come up because we've had it all before.
Yeah, so I think because of that, new topics of debate have arose. And it's kind of like, you know, the way that like Steve Shives, like he was an atheist and he was like, now we're going to have Atheist Plus. And then atheists were like, wait, I don't want to be part of Atheism Plus. So then there was like a split there in the community, like the atheist community. And I think the same's happening now with like the anti-SJW or like, you know, the skeptic community or whatever you want to call it, where there are just new issues that have split people because, say, for example, Brexit with Sargon and Thunderfoot, that was an issue that they disagreed with on. And like, so I think that to some degree, but I think it's just kind of like there's just new topics of discussion where people have realized, like the same with Atheism Plus, like, wait, we don't agree on everything. Like, we're not on the same side anymore, so we have to debate about it.
I think what you just said, I think, is a very interesting idea of, like, there are key ideas that seem to separate groups. For example, in atheism, you were talking about there was the Atheism Plus, feminism, and the other atheists, which had a big separation. And then so questioning what separates people like Thunderfoot from people like Sargon. I wouldn't say it's conservatism because I don't think Sargon is a conservative.
No.
But Sargon definitely likes Trump more than he likes than Thunderfoot likes Trump. Thunderfoot obviously dislikes Trump to a great degree. I don't think it's Trump specifically that's separating the community. Like what I think it might be more popularism or something along those lines. I haven't figured out what exactly is
Yeah,
that.
I think the community is fracturing in more ways maybe than the clear divide of, you know, like, no, we don't want atheism. Atheism should just be atheism. It shouldn't be associated with any other, you know, particular. And I think that was like a clear, distinct line with people like atheism doesn't mean anything politically. Whereas I think with this, it's just kind of like, for example, once again, like there was Brexit and there's Trump, and I think it's just more like, I think it's more just like general ideas of, I think it's still related to social justice to some degree, where I think it's just lots of people have like disagreements with how, I guess maybe like, say for example, Thunderfoot, I think takes issue with how some of like the anti-SJW community functions, and he disagrees with that. For example, like, I think I'm trying to think of like, say, so Thunderfoot and Nightmare Fuel have, say for example, both criticized Rebel Media, and particularly why have I forgotten her name? That's so stupid.
Lauren Southern.
Lauren Southern. Yeah. Whereas like lots of the anti-SJW community quite likes Lauren Southern. I mean, I don't particularly dislike her. I think that there are fair criticisms against her. I think to some degree Rebel Media is, in a lot of ways, is very ideologically driven as well. So I think to some degree, you know, like I don't have a particular problem with Lauren Southern. I maybe just have a problem with Rebel Media and some of the conduct. In that it I feel like it's alternative media as opposed to being balanced media, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, anti-social justice warriors are, as I've heard described in the social justice warriors circles, is basically just a form of social justice.
Yeah.
Originally probably trying to create a balance between the feminists and the anti-feminists.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I mean, I have a problem with some of Thunderfoot's more recent political content. I think his science debunking videos are still really great. Like, especially when he does like pseudoscience stuff. Like, I still find them very interesting. But, and I think that that's why he really shone as someone back when it was atheism, because he's someone that has a very clear grasp of scientific principles that a lot of atheism believes in. Well, I say believes, it's a bit different to like believing in God, but you know what I mean. Like, whereas now I think politically some of his arguments lack the same nuance that his scientific arguments do. And I think that possibly might be because, as we discussed earlier, that like, like, I mean, I wouldn't particularly characterize myself as an anti-feminist either. I guess, I don't know, it's just like the clearest way to, I don't know. I don't really know what I'd label myself as either. But I don't know. A skeptic kind of seems like the most reasonable. But even then, like, I don't really label myself as that either. But just to answer Mockingbad's comment. But yeah, I think part of that is because when you debate with people who have a background in science, a lot of the time, I think, because the way you address an argument or a problem as a scientist is very different to how you'd address a problem or an argument as a humanities student. And I think both ways of thinking are very important and valid. But I think that scientists sometimes are more used to there being a clear solution or having like a clear route of investigation to reach a solution. Whereas as a humanities student, like you're like, or like say for example, like a law-based student, you, especially in law, you acknowledge that there's like no real clear answer. It's just part of it is that there are valid pathways to different outcomes of thought. And I think the part of his science background may mean that he lacks some of the nuance and understanding of other sides. Not saying that all scientists lack that ability, but it's something that I think the way that scientists think might be an issue.
It could be the case as well, where as a scientist, he expects the criticism, but when he goes into the social justice, he expects people to agree with him rather than to question his motives. And as a viewer of Thunderfoot, you expect him to be reporting things as accurately as possible because he's used to doing the research.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
Well, I mean, I find it interesting. If I had to choose a side between Sargon and Thunderfoot, I would choose Thunderfoot. Even on the political, because while I know there are many things that he he has inaccuracies. I feel that Sargon has an equal amount of inaccuracies. For example, he was pushing, like, one of the things that happened pretty recent, like right before the election of Donald Trump, he was saying that Hillary Clinton was gonna start war with Russia because he had a clip of a general who was saying that if we
Oh yeah, the full clip completely disproves that bit of the clip. Yeah,
yeah. So Sargon's not clean of the same thing that Thunderfoot does, that or has done, but I think the arguments that personally I've seen both arguments, and I there are certain things I like about Sargon's arguments better than Thunderfoot's, but there are more things I like about Thunderfoot's arguments than I do about Sargon's. And that's
yeah. I think on like what Glitch just said, Thunderfoot was very concerned about science, funding for sciences, and I know part of that will be because he financially benefits from that. But I think, in fairness, like one of the arguments of like, oh no, he's just purely doing it for so like he's purely doing it for economic gain. Like I think that's unfair because ultimately, politics in a lot of ways is just what you think will be the best outcome, not just for yourself but for the country. Whereas like if you think that you're going to be better under a certain system, like say for example, if you think that you'll be better off under leaving the EU, for example, then you're going to be more inclined to want to leave. I mean, if you view it obviously as like a complete mess for the rest of the country, then you might not want to. But I don't know. Like I think he would have lost funding, and I think that was probably a factor that people were right to point out. But I don't think that completely undermines all of his argument. Like some people were not saying that Glitch was suggesting that, but some people basically suggested all of his arguments are invalid because he will lose money. I don't know. I don't feel like that was. I feel like he raised some very valid points about the economy. The I don't know, when undermined by him losing funding. I don't know.
I do tend to agree with the possibility that leaving the EU will be detrimental to the health of the UK economy. In either case, if we stay, there would still be economic losses. If we leave, there are still going to be economic losses. So either position to take is a perfectly valid one to take, and it's the ones who can't see the point of view from the opposition that causes the problem.
Yeah, I'll name what Marking Bad just said. Yeah, the economy hasn't been that. I think part of it, though, is that lots of businesses set up here in the UK who aren't part of the EU because they want access to the single market. And lots of those businesses are going to move to countries like Ireland in order to have access to that market. Not saying that they're no longer going to trade with the EU or that Britain's going to like be broken beyond repair, because I think that is fear-mongering, that Britain will never freaking recover or some shit like that. But I think that, well, I mean, it is true that lots of businesses, like say from Japan, India, I mean, India's a slightly different scenario because we provide a lot of foreign aid there, which encourages investment there, which is kind of another complex issue. We're like funding their freaking space program, instead of feeding starving people because we want investment from their country. But there are significant businesses from a significant number of businesses from like Japan, etc., that are going to move to other countries like Ireland, who already, to be honest, have lower corporation tax than we do. And the main reason why they're in the UK as opposed to Ireland is because it's closer access to Europe. Whereas,
I think it's important to remember that while Brexit has been voted on, I don't think much of the actual impact of Brexit will happen until Brexit actually happens.
So I think part of it will depend on what deal we get with the EU. Yeah. Yeah, I think that encouraging investment within their own borders is valid. I just think that the problem is that I think we've opened like the Pandora's box of globalization, and we're not really going to reverse that. The internet in and of itself, and the increased communication between different countries, and I don't know. Like I think it's a government has a duty to its people first and foremost, but I don't know. I think part of it is still that. I think there is something to be said about, say, for example, investing in other countries like India, because in the long term it has positive impacts on us. Also, say, for example, like China's investing a lot in Africa right now, which I think in Africa right now and gaining a lot of resources from that, because Africa doesn't have a lot of infrastructure. But if you think about freaking the wealth of resources that Africa has that isn't tapped into because of lack of infrastructure, if say, for example, China, which has a lot of money to throw at Africa, spends a lot of time and money putting infrastructure there and businesses that in the long term, like, it may be like short-term investment for those countries, which may, you know, be, oh no, well, like, you could spend that money on your own people, but in the long term it's going to provide a lot of benefit for China. So I don't know, I think that globalization,
it's a tough thing. So I mean, if you think about, yeah, you gotta a country should care about its own country first, but does that mean that we shouldn't worry about the countries around us? I disagree, because by not caring about the countries around us, say in America, if Mexico becomes so poor that their only option is to fight America for their resources, that's very scary for America. And I mean, we would dominate Mexico, but we still don't need a war on our borders. It'd be very costly to us. It would not benefit us very much. And so it might make financial sense to be considerate of taking care of Mexico in a way that benefits America in the long term.
Yeah. I think as well, once again, like, I think lots of people in the future and stuff, like, will just, I think it's already happening, and that just automation, etc., is already going to happen regardless of how much we fund within our own borders. So I think problems with globalization, such as loss of jobs, which is a valid concern once again, like, I think maybe the rate of globalization may have a problem with in that markets can't adjust, etc. So say, for example, like, lots of people will be losing funding from trade, etc., like their whatever trade they do, because of increased competition in those areas due to a lack of jobs. But I think most of that is really due to automation as opposed to globalization. And once again, like, how do you discourage automation? Like, as a business, like, it makes more sense, especially with people, for example, who work at McDonald's campaigning for a higher campaigning for a living wage, because basically the way that the minimum wage works right now is that it's roughly based on how much you're worth in the how much you produce financially for the country. So I don't know, I think globalization has a lot less to do with loss of jobs than people suggest it does. I think automation is a larger area of concern.
Yeah, but as a person who deals with computer science and all that, you're not going to stop automation.
You're not going to stop it.
There's no slowing that down, and we shouldn't slow it down, because we take away jobs from cashiers by putting in self-checkout lanes, or Amazon, where you just go in and you pick it up. You are taking jobs from people who don't usually get degrees, or from basically what's the word I'm looking for? Unskilled labor.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
do it.
Oh no, I'm actually not interested in artificial intelligence. That is not my forte. I want to make
that to all the
websites.
attackers in Japan that want to have virtual wives. How dare you take away their waifus from them? Let them have their AI waifus. Yeah, there's a lot of trades in the media. I think part of it, though, is that the people that are affected by this are the people who have, like, say, for example, like something like law that I'm in. You can have something that tells you what the law is that already exists. You can have someone that presents you with all the cases, but you can't really automate without creating an AI, which is within of itself be no problem. Something that really understands all the nuance of different arguments that could be made. Yeah.
I'm not familiar with torch down a roof. Is that a British term?
blowtorch.
Oh yeah,
Blowtorch.
blowtorch. Yeah.
Blowtorch down a roof material.
Yeah, no, that's probably valid. Although, to be honest, once again, with the rate that technology is advancing, it might be possible that in the future. But,
Yeah. Anything like those kind of, like a lot of things like that probably will be autonomous at some point. Probably some things that robots aren't very good at right now will probably get better at. But one of the bigger industries that are going to be greatly affected by autonomy is truck driving in America, particularly.
Okay, yeah, I understand what you're saying now. I didn't understand what that was, but yeah, fair enough. Yeah, no, that's probably valid.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, one day robots might be able to do it in a better and safer manner than what people can do it. But I don't know. I don't know much about torching a roof.
Yeah.
But so I don't know. but like I said, positions like truck drivers with autonomous cars, pretty much right around the corner. Truck drivers are going to be out of work. They make up a large portion of American jobs, and they're one of the few unskilled labor jobs in America that pays well. It's sad, but I mean, there's two thoughts about autonomy cars, though. Of autonomy cars will be let's see if I can remember. I saw a graph that said what autonomy cars, how the rollout of autonomy cars will probably happen in about was it by 2020, autonomy cars will be coming to commercial markets, like fully autonomous cars, like the Google's cars, not like Tesla's slightly autonomous cars. By 2040, they expect autonomous cars to be the primary car purchased. And by 2060, legislation will make it that all cars have to be autonomous. And it's taxis are also in the same boat as
and I think just ultimately, like, even if, say, for example, like, I don't know much about torching roofs, but say, for example, like, that doesn't happen and that particular industry isn't able to be automated, there is still like significant like manual labor or significant significant number of like self-service or like customer service industries and jobs that will be taken up by automated jobs, mainly just because at one point it's just going to be more beneficial, like, you know, for businesses to do so. And I mean you could argue, like, you know, maybe possibly providing incentives at like a governmental level to encourage businesses to continue to hire people, but whether or not that's really in the long term going to have enough of a significant impact to stop it, I don't know. I think automated services can be a good thing. I just think that maybe at the rate it's happening might possibly be a problem, and that you're not creating new industries quick enough where people can go into work. So I don't know. I think like with the new technology that's created, there might be like a miraculous new industry that appears that, like, I don't know, creates jobs.
There is, I mean, there are new industry, like the tech industry is the fastest growing industry in America. Again, I can only speak about America because I don't know British stuff going on in Britain.
Like, part of the reason why lots of economic migrants come here is because there is significant tech jobs that aren't taken.
Yeah, there's tech industry, is a huge booming industry. The industry that's affected most by autonomy is unskilled labor, because automating those processes that of pushing a button or driving a truck, things that are very simple, are easy to do, and it will. I mean, don't get me wrong. A program that can code it, there are programs that can code themselves, but it's going to be a long time before autonomy gets to skilled labor.
Yeah, I think on guaranteed incomes, yeah, like I mean, me personally, like I'm a lot in favor of, say, for example, things like tax credits, especially to ensure that people that are in the workplace still can have a decent standard of living. Because then, like it's better even if you're being substituted a certain amount of income by the government in order to still be able to live.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
think
know.
yeah, like it's better to have someone in work than to have somebody not working at all. I don't know. Yeah.
I think the majority of people as well, since every field also needs some level of customer care. Some, and most people still want the human touch to be involved in their dealings with the company, with any company. And as you were saying, it's going to it might be going a little too fast. I mean, you go down to any supermarket in Britain now, at least half the checkouts are self-service, and people just don't want that. At the moment, they don't want that. They're not used to the idea of they've got to do all the work themselves. It's the same with the ones who have this little, you scan it as you go. And it's less secure for the business as well, because you don't know if they're putting everything, if your customers are putting everything through the checkout. So they could be walking away with free TVs, and you have no idea unless you've checked the receipts.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think that people are going to disappear from, say, for example, like shops, etc. But like, I don't know. I think like you already see it with self-service checkouts. Like a lot of people prefer self-service checkouts because it's quicker, etc. If you have like a small number of items and stuff like that.
I use self-service. Mum refuses because she can't get used to the pushing the buttons on the screen. But if we're going in for a big shop, then we'll tend to go. I tend to go to a cashier rather than self-service. I usually only go for 1 or 2 items before the self-service.
Also on what Markings just say about guaranteed income, like I don't know, maybe it's part of like cultural differences, because in the UK we have tax credits, we have benefits, we have the NHS, we have aid for higher education, like significantly more that's available in the US. So I don't know. I think like, I don't know where you're from. You might be from somewhere else. But yeah, so I think part of it is just like I think in the UK we're more receptive to. I mean, like obviously, like you could argue that there's significant need for reform in those areas. I'm not saying that they're perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I think in the UK we're more sympathetic to providing, I don't know, like a guaranteed level of income, etc., than maybe other countries.
I don't think guaranteed income is necessarily the solution. I don't. It might come to that if things get bad enough. I mean, if it gets to, but I don't think that's the long-term solution.
No, I don't think. I don't think benefits or tax credits are even supposed to be like a long-term solution for individuals. It just happens.
No, I personally think a solution revolving around increasing education, so there are more jobs in skilled labor. Finding ways of increasing the amount of people to do skilled labor jobs.
Cool. You're from Canada. Didn't realize. Oh, sorry. Unrelated. Yeah.
I think that's a better long-term solution than a guaranteed income. However, guaranteed income, like skilled labor usually means higher pay because you've spent more time in college or whatever, or university, and we don't have as many skilled labor as we do unskilled labor. I don't know. It's a very, I don't know what the best solution is. I know finding more ways of increasing people's education, I think, is the solution, and having more people do skilled labor is I mean, basically I think eventually we will have to make college part of the public school system in a sense, maybe not in the way that I'm not necessarily a fan of the way the public school system works, but as basically high school used to be what college is in America, and now it's I think eventually college will eventually become just something that everybody does.
Yeah, I think on what Marking is saying, yeah, having two parents has like a positive impact on, yeah, and I think as well, like, I think in fairness, like, the availability of divorce to some degree that's like being produced by second wave feminism is beneficial, because having two parents is like the optimum, but having two parents in a horrible environment in which they're constantly arguing, or like, for example, one parent may be in a system of abuse, maybe abused, etc. Because even if a child isn't hyper aware of it, say for example, as someone whose parents are abused, like, having two parents is more likely to do that. Yeah, but I think as well, like, I think that if those two parents are in a system where the best situation is cooperative co-parenting. Yeah, I think as well, like, in fairness to second wave feminism, I think the availability of divorce has been useful in that a child will suffer emotionally if their parents are in a situation where the home life isn't I don't want to say safe, because like your parents arguing doesn't necessarily mean you're unsafe. I guess an uncomforting home environment, in which case divorce may just be the best solution for the child, if anything else. So yeah, especially children of single parents do better in those situations. Yeah, I think though, in general, like, I think parents, even in situations of divorce, can have cooperative parenting if they're both willing to, disruptive home environment. Yeah, that's the best word for it. Yeah, but even if they're divorced, I think that maybe it should be encouraged more parents to try and still engage in cooperative co-parenting. The problem is that if it's a particularly bad situation, or if the parents just are petty and don't want to try and put their problems aside for the child, then that won't happen. In which case, that also negatively impacts the child.
And of course, you get the situation where the two parents compete against each other for the child's affection.
Yeah, no, that definitely happens a lot. Like, I know I personally experienced that, speaking about personal experience, and I know a lot of other people in divorces whose parents have been divorced because parents want you to pick their side, because they want to be like the best parent. And I can understand that to some degree, because kids do it too. Kids want to be like the favorite child, don't they? Like, but yeah. I think on the other things that feminism has had a negative impact on education, and having and also I'm just waiting to have kids later on in life. Like, I think that waiting to have kids later on in life is valid. I think obviously it depends, like, so it depends on the situation. For example, like, everything depends on the situation ultimately, because you may have, for example, like a family because ultimately waiting to have children later on in life, the most obvious benefit of that is financial security. And if
emotional.
Yeah. But yeah.
If you wait, you're more emotionally stable.
Yeah. But I think that to some degree, like, if it depends on the situation. Like, I know people that are like from very well-off families and have a pretty close-knit positive family unit that have had kids younger, and like, they seem to do well, and they themselves, like, I think parenthood in and of itself, you're forced to become more emotionally mature. So I don't know.
Sorry about that.
These people older than me, I'm still talking about, like, that do like 23, 24, so they're not like teenagers, but yeah. But yeah, no, feminism has done that, and I think as well, like, feminism to some degree, it's complicated, because like feminism's kind of like because there's like two branches of feminism almost. There's like, if you go into work and you completely ignore your child, which I mean, like, obviously you're not completely ignoring your child, but if you go into work and prioritize your career, you're a bad parent. And then if you're a woman that wants to stay at home and look after the kids, you're like a bad feminist that's like, you know, undermining, like buying into gender roles, and you're just like, you can't win. Like, it's just like, fuck it. Like they just won't be satisfied either way.
And if you're a man and you choose to stay at home, you're a deadbeat. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things. Like, I think I don't like feminism in the same way that I hate people who I dislike people who think that I think you should do everybody's individual family situation. It should be determined by their own family. I mean, for the most part. If the mom going to work is better for the family, then the mom should go to work. If the mom should stay home, which I think in more cases is better, not just because, well, there are many reasons why women are more likely to stay home. For example, formula is really expensive. And some people can't afford to get government subsidies, at least in America. Many people can't afford to get government subsidies to get the formula. So it might save the family money for the woman to stay home and breastfeed the child. But it also might be beneficial for her to go to work.
Yeah,
because,
I think, like, say, for example, one of the people that is a mature student, and she went to work because her husband was like in an area of unskilled labor, whereas she was like, you know, working with significant branches of the justice system, etc. And she had a significantly higher wage than him, so, you know, like, he was, women do prefer to work part-time. And I think as well, like, a lot of that is as well, I think that people, like, feminists especially, do ignore, I think, to some degree, like, obviously not every woman is the same, and not every woman, like, wants to have kids and has this, like, massive maternal instinct. But a lot of women I know, at least I personally, do have a maternal instinct in which, like, you know, I want to have kids. And, like, even though I think I'd be bored out my mind just staying at home, like, I couldn't understand, like, why women would want more part-time work or flexible careers, because, like, sometimes, like, they just want to stay home with their kids. And I think that to some degree feminists kind of view, like, where you are in your career as the only measure of success. And it's like, what makes a successful life, really? Like, I don't know.
I think the whole issue on women being maternal instincts and all that often is evolved around evolutionary psychology, where women had back when people lived in caves, women, and even for a long time, women had to be the ones to stay home and had to be the nurturers of the family, because we didn't have things like formula or any other way of nursing kids without the modern technologies we have, like breast pumps and stuff like that. And so for a long time, our evolution has said women had to stay home.
Yeah.
Some people take that as all women. That means that all women should have that maternal instinct, but that's not true either.
Yeah.
There was also the point where because a woman is less productive for the time that she's pregnant, back in the day, it was dangerous for women who were pregnant to go to work, and that was a lot more safer. And there's certain groups that just don't like that idea. They don't want to believe that a woman could be less able to do anything.
Yeah. Well, you even, like, ultimately you have to take time out when you're pregnant, because there's going to be a point where you're like, yeah, I really can't just do this job anymore. Like, you know, even afterwards, like, I know that one reason why maternity leave in the UK, at least, is so long is mainly because for the emotional benefit of the baby, because, like, the woman might have recovered, but it's important that a baby has contact with people and consistent contact with people for emotional development. And it's important that parents form an emotional bond with their child for, like, long-term, you know, emotional maturity, I guess, of the child. But yeah, like I think, but yeah, on like Marking's point, yeah, evolutionary psychology is our best guess. Yeah, I think as well, like yeah, it's just like it's the most logical solution. It's the most logical theory we have right now as to why we express like such behavior paradigms. But I think it seems pretty legit as well. Like it doesn't seem crazy. I at least think it's better than just like everything is because of patriarchy.
On the topic of oh, you were just talking about it. I lost it. I feel so stupid right now. On the topic of wow, I can't believe I lost it. Oh, what were you just talking about?
I don't know.
What was?
Yeah, I think ultimately, like, just to Marking, yeah, I think we need to be open to other reasons for why people express why we have current like behavioral paradigms. I think that there's the evolutionary psychology. So yeah.
Yeah. I completely lost what I was thinking. Anyways, we've been talking for about 2 hours and 10 minutes. That's quite a long time. Do you guys want to wrap it up here, or?
Yeah, sure. Is there anything that anyone wants to quickly have, I don't know, a say on? Anything in the chat?
No, I think we're fine here.
We'll definitely have to do this again. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Don't really want to talk about marketing's sexuality.
Yeah, no. I'll talk about you with that later. Marking, just GM me. I'm only joking.
Rampaging sexual.
No, but yeah. So yeah, no, that's cool. And if anyone hasn't already, I guess like subscribe to the channels in com's description. And
yes,
also,
I've
yeah,
posted both our Twitter and our YouTube channels. So
yeah, and hit me up on Twitter, guys. Hit us all up on Twitter. Oh, don't worry, I will. You could slide in there. Yeah.
I'm not gonna let my wife watch this later, just so you know. Just because of you.
Can't corrupt his wife. How dare you, Marking? You scumbag.
No, it's fine. She finds this kind of stuff hilarious, so.
Yeah. But yeah, cool.
Right.
So yeah, so we'll wrap it up here, guys. So yeah,
Okay.
message me whenever. Anyway.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Have a good one, guys. Bye.
I'll see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.